Okay, so in a story I think many of us have probably seen, and we're like, what's going on here? New York Post reports extremist Jewish teens secretly hired migrants to dig uh, covert Brooklyn synagogue tunnel Shawshank style. I think we saw this. There was something going on at a synagogue in New York in which they were digging underground, and the police came in, and there was a big hoopla that happened. We can watch a video real quick together. This is the underground tunnel. And what is going on, I do not know. I think a lot of people do not know. And here's the commotion that happened, I think, when the police come in and they are responding and trying to get them to stop digging this tunnel and shut it down and put cement because it was starting to destabilize the building next door. So, the first thing I want to say, subhanAllah, we got some ads now or something going on. Imagine this was the Muslim community. I mean, imagine Muslims did this. This would be all over the world as Muslims are building secret tunnels in the United States of America to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And this just shows us the hypocrisy of the world around us and the hypocrisy of the news agencies. I mean, of course, if it's something having to do with someone who happens to be Christian or someone who's Jewish or someone who is Hindu, their religion very often doesn't even play a factor in the news covering. But if it's someone who happens to be a Muslim, it's Muslim male terrorizes New York City. Muslim female goes and does A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Muslims in a mosque build tunnels to do God knows what. We need to launch an investigation. We need to do this. We need to do that. But when it comes to the Jewish community, when it comes to the Christian community, and when it comes to other communities, we don't notice that sort of behavior. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, لَتَسْمَعُنَّ مِنَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ وَمِنَ الَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا أَذًى كَثِيرًا وَإِن تَصْبِرُوا وَتَتَّقُوا فَإِنَّ ذَلِكَ مِنْ عَزْمِ الْأُمُورِ. I mean, for you and I, as Muslims living in the West, living in the United States of America or Europe, wherever you are, when we see this behavior, it should only increase us in faith. Really. I mean, this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala giving you and I an opportunity to just increase in faith, because everything that He subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa ala alihi told us is 100% true. And so we're living that reality. And He tells us, Subhana, لَتَسْمَعُنَّ مِنَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ وَمِنَ الَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا أَذًى كَثِيرًا. You are going to hear from those that have been given the revelation before you, and from those that ascribe partners to God. You're going to hear from them a lot of harm, a lot of venom. They're going to come at you with everything that they have. I mean, we remember after 9/11, it was a non-stop parade of attacks on the Muslim community. And if you look at right now, it's continually being a non-stop parade of attacks on the Muslim community. But we're going to respond. We're going to respond. We're going to tell them that no, what you're saying is completely wrong. We stand for peace. We stand for justice. We stand for equality. And so, can you imagine a group of Muslims if a squadron of police officers came into the mosque and we started pushing them back and hitting them? Like, what would happen to that community? It wouldn't be, a peaceful takedown. It would be a violent takedown. It'd be very problematic. And then the whole world would erupt, and all the communities that are Muslim within the United States of America would start to be questioned. They'd start to question your allegiances. Can we really trust them? Are they true citizens of this country? But yet, a group like this in New York City does what they did in this Jewish synagogue, and we don't hear any of that. Now, what we do hear is the internet erupting in very funny memes that have been out there, and I think many of you have seen them. But, it's just the hypocrisy, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us about this hypocrisy. And, there's an article, The Haaretz talks about this group, because this group is an interesting group. It's like a sect within Judaism called the Chabad house. And so, let's look into the Chabad house and who they are. And so, if we scroll down in this article, we have a group of yeshiva students and ultra Orthodox soldiers established a so-called Chabad house in the Gaza Strip this week. Now, that synagogue that we just looked at a moment ago in Brooklyn that was building the tunnel underneath their building, they're the Chabad house, right? So that same group, people who have allegiances to that same group, are also in Gaza. And those soldiers in Gaza are murdering women, are murdering children, and are murdering men. And so a lot of them, soldiers in Gaza, what are they doing in Gaza? Well, let's see. They hanging a sign with the name Chabad House Gaza from the window of a damaged building and proclaiming it a center for religious services for Israelis troops. Photos showing armed soldiers patrolling outside the building while a bearded Hasid belonging to the Chabad Hasidic movement smiled out the window, according to the ultra-Orthodox website Chabad Online. The informal Chabad house was the brainchild of a number of American yeshiva students studying in Tel Aviv, who provided the sign to Yossi Yaakov, a fellow yeshiva student serving in the IDF. And we've got an image right there. A Chabad house in Gaza, established by IDF soldiers who are students of Chabad Yeshiva Shazon in Tel Aviv. So you see a bombed out home in Gaza where a beautiful, innocent family probably once lived and where kids probably played in front of, now overtaken by soldiers who have destroyed other people's lives. And not only that, it's one thing to destroy. Now they're just so happy that they did that they want to establish it as a place of religious worship. Now, this group and the followers of this group, they believe that, the Jewish law has to be adhered to, fine, and that for the Messiah to return, that all of that area of Israel has to be taken over by the Jews. Chabad is also known for the insistence of its late rabbi, Menchem Mendel Shenerson, that Israel must retain control over the entirety of the biblical land of Israel, and that their opposition to any land for peace deal with the Palestinians. So, they're very, very specific that that whole area needs to be, in their regards, purified of all Arab blood. So only Jews are living there, so that the Messiah can return. They're a Zionist organization. They want to remove all Muslims from Palestinian land. They want to remove all Christians from Palestinian lands, just so the Jews can live there. And so their Messiah, and this is their rabbi, can come back and that they can overtake the whole world. So this is the same group that's in New York. And so they have soldiers, many of which are operating in the Gaza Strip right now and harming and killing everyone that's there. And we've seen articles lately, and we've seen videos of American citizens, dual citizens, returning from Israel after being in Gaza for 2 months to their families in the United States. And so, we have a real question, if these men and these women committed war crimes, will the United States take them into account for the war crimes that they committed? Will those that went and left the United States to go serve in that massacre in Gaza, will they be taken into account for the atrocities that they committed in Gaza by the United States government? Or will they be given a safe pass? Or will that duplicitous behavior that we talked about earlier in this video continue to cover those that commit the worst atrocities? And so these are questions that need to be answered.